Good morning and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Amanda from CCIQ and I'll be your facilitator for today. Joining us is Andrew Taylor, Services Support Officer at CCIQ, and Monica Matre, HR/IR Advisor, also here at CCIQ. So ensuring that your business is HR compliant can often be time consuming and costly if not done correctly. And today's Andrew is going to discuss the HR assistance that BRQ Enterprise members are entitled to, which can help your business with an effective HR strategy. And then he'll hand over to Monica, who will cover some HR practices that are required to ensure your business is HR compliant. So we will be able to ask questions. So if you do have any, type them into the chat box that appears on the bottom right-hand side of your screen, and we'll get to them at the end if any come through. So I'll now hand over to Andrew to kick off today's presentation.
Hey, thanks there, Amanda, and welcome everyone. So I'm excited to talk I'm excited to talk today about HR in the compliance in the IT industry. What we'll talk about first is Business Ready QAssure, a membership within CCIQ for the IT businesses. What is Business Ready QAssure? How to ensure your business is seen by over 20,000 users per month. Commonly asked HR questions by our ICT members, national employment standards and award compliance, plus confidentiality and post-employment restraint, and support and resources that are available to our members and how to get the most out of them. So first of all, what is Business Ready QAssure all about? Business Ready QAssure is a membership for the IT community with specialized benefits that help your businesses survive in the current climate. We help get your business ready to work with government, get you noticed, and in front of procurement officers. I would like to take everyone through a quick summary of this membership before we move on to the HR compliance. How can you benefit as a member of Business Ready QAssure? We are the largest ICT supplier network in Queensland, with over 20,000 users per month, being a mix of government users, applicants, and private industry, and is the best way to get noticed. Accreditation. Performing the due diligence on your business that is required by the Queensland Government QITC framework. This accreditation will help your application process, putting you at the top of the pile with government trusted process. Government procurement officers will be able to ask for your Business Ready QAssure number and then log in and check your accreditation is up to date, making their job easier in selecting the winning tender. We're informing you of procurement processes in our How To event series. Our first How To workshop included topics such as top tips for procurement, what government looks for in your application, and small and medium business advice. Listing your business capabilities for exposure to the entire market. Your public profile is a key resource to being found by ICT customers, and having your business capabilities up to date and displayed will help potential customers find you when you're searching. Easy content creation, saving you time and reducing red tape. With built-in auto-populated general and comprehensive contracts, you can easily start these, saving you time and duplication. Support and resources. As mentioned earlier, Business Ready QAssure resources, such as pre-filled templates, a weekly national tender notification, and online resources make it easier to discover the world of QITC and Business Ready QAssure. And HR support, policies and advice, the topic for today's webinar. To make sure our members are seen, we have a high traffic supplier listing page, Find a Supplier, where government and private procurement officers are able to find, locate, and contact trusted businesses associated with CCIQ. Why? Business Ready QAssure has been in operation since 2014, and with this history of connecting with Queensland Government, we have always been the trusted source for ICT supplier searches, with over 20,000 searches per month. being the only trusted Queensland ICT supplier site, we're the first step in any procurement journey. Your public profile. As a member, your critical information is displayed, which includes your business-ready QAssure number, your website, and address, so you can easily be found and know where you are located. The address is also useful for when governments and councils are looking for a regionally based supplier. The date you first became accredited, and when your application is due for renewal. Annual renewals are important because this makes sure that the suppliers listed are up to date with current information as requested by government during any tendering process. The sales contact details, the person you have nominated on your application to take inbound sales inquiries and can be a great lead generator. Your company capabilities. This is where your executive business summary and business capabilities are listed, with these capabilities matching the government framework. You can be searched by capability to find the right supplier for the right job. The weekly national tender notification. This popular resource means that you can get all in one place ICT only tender notifications that help highlight tenders that you can apply for. No longer go through tenders for every industry and see a short description before being taken straight to the tender page. With new releases at the top, national tenders to help you find tenders you may be qualified for outside of the state, and easy to see due dates and times, this email is a must-have for all businesses and is included in your membership. Our government-led workshops. With government representation, talking about government tenders and procurement, our business-ready QAssure workshops are another great resource. As you can see, our last workshop included the top tips when tendering, SME engagement tips, and how to build a relationship. Are you aware of these government policy schedules for SMEs? Policy schedules and award updates are something we include and communicate to our members. Do you know that having HR support, HR policies, and social inclusion policies give you additional weighting when tendering? Having these resources can aid you to win more government contracts. I would now like to ask Monica, CCIQ's Industrial Relations and HR Advisor, to speak about the HR compliance and issues faced in the ITC community.
Thank you, Andrew. Good morning to everyone attending today's webinar. I'll be addressing questions commonly asked by our IT industry members, which include award coverage, the National Employment Standards and award compliance, focusing on hours of work, flexible work arrangements, notice of termination, and personal development. Also, confidentiality and post-employment restraint. Award coverage for employees engaged in the information technology industry is the Professional Employees Award 2010. Schedule B refers to the training and experience required for each pay point level. Coverage under the Professional Employees Award focuses on sufficient qualifications or experience, work for an employer in the IT industry or telecommunication services industry, having attained a university degree in IT or qualifications and/or experience that make them eligible for admission as a member of the Australian Computer Society. Professional development is referred to in Clause 11.9 of the Professional Employees Award, and it centres on the responsibility of the employee to keep themselves informed of developments in their profession and to develop their professional knowledge and ability. Training forms a major part in the IT industry as there are constant updates. If your business relies on their certified skills, it makes sense to track this information for your own records. There are currently 11 national employment standards. I'll be focusing on hours of work, flexible work arrangements, and notice of termination. Maximum weekly hours are currently 38 hours a week. Hours worked in excess are treated as additional hours. To determine whether additional hours are considered reasonable or unreasonable, certain factors are taken into consideration. So looking at the risk to an employee's health and safety, an employee's personal circumstance, for example, if they have family responsibilities, the needs of the workplace, whether compensation will be provided to the employee, such as overtime, penalty rates, or other compensation, notice given, usual patterns of work in the industry, and the employee's role and their responsibility. Clause 18.2 under the Professional Employees Award compensates for additional hours in the following instances: time worked regularly in excess of ordinary hours, time worked on callbacks, time spent standing by in readiness for a callback, time spent carrying out professional duties outside of ordinary hours over the telephone or via remote access arrangements, time worked on afternoon, night, or weekend shifts. The Professional Employees Award does not contain information on overtime or penalty rates. Clause 18.3 provides compensation for additional hours, including granting special additional leave, granting special additional remuneration, taking this factor into consideration, the fixation of annual remuneration, or granting special allowance or loading. It's important to be aware in clause 18.4 that the compensation or remuneration offered does need to be reviewed on an annual basis. The next will be flexible working arrangements. This allows employees who are the parent or have responsibility for the care of a child or who is of school age or younger. It also provides eligibility for a person who has a disability, a person who is of age 55 or older, or experienced violence from a member of the family, or provide care or support to a member of their immediate family or household who requires care or support because they're experiencing violence from their family. Requests can include changes in hours of work, changes in patterns of work, and changes in location of work. Further information in regards to how to respond to a written request and what information must be included if an employer refuses the request is in clause 18A of the Professional Employees Award. Now, I just wanted to make special mention of the benefits of flexible working arrangements simply because I didn't state that in the beginning of the webinar that would be an area that I'd be talking about. But I am fully aware that with the IT industry, there is issues in regards to staff retention. So I just wanted to draw focus on the benefits basically of flexible working arrangements for employees. It has actually been known to be beneficial for an industry to actually have this in practice, not only because it promotes productivity, but it's also a healthier work-life balance. It's just something to take into consideration. It's not mandatory, but I just thought I'd mention it because I know that staff retention is an issue with IT. Anyway, thank you. Moving on, I'll be talking now about notice of termination. So with the notice of termination, under the Professional Employees Award 2010, specifically clause 12.2 overrides the National Employment Standards for the notice of termination under the Fair Work Act of section 117(3)(a). It states that they are required, the employer, to provide an employee with 1 month's notice of termination or payment in lieu. The notice of termination required to be given by an employee is the same as that required of an employer, except that there is no requirement on the employee to give additional notice based on the age of the employee concerned. Now we're going to speak further in regards to confidentiality. Confidentiality is important in the workplace, especially in relation to the IT industry, as it helps in managing disputes, ensures security of delicate information, it protects clients and prevents crime and discrimination. So what confidential information might your company want to protect? Your company's confidential information may include information about clients or customers, products or services, marketing or sales plans, business strategies or methods, designs, inventions, or formulas and/or techniques, procedures or methods used in the business, including training employees. Contractual obligations of confidentiality. Your employees will be subject to a contractual obligation of confidence. For example, an obligation not to disclose or misuse your confidential information. If this obligation is not spelled out in the contract of employment, it will be implied. An express contractual confidentiality obligation can be stated to operate even when the employment relationship ends. For example, when your employee resigns. People are subject to an equitable obligation of confidence if they have information that is confidential and obtain the information in circumstances that ought to have made them realize the information needs to be kept confidential. Information is confidential if considerable skill and effort has been used to acquire the information, and it would take a competitor or potential competitor the same amount of effort to obtain the information, unless, of course, it was leaked from your business. To determine whether information is confidential, a court will consider whether a person in the industry in similar circumstances would regard the information as confidential. For information to be confidential to your business, it must be clearly distinguishable from an employee's know-how. Know-how is knowledge and skills acquired by an employee through their experience and self-development. If your business has any confidential information, take steps to ensure this information as being confidential. For example, use a confidential watermark and limit employees' access to it. Courts are more likely to treat information as confidential and protect it from misuse if you have clearly communicated to an employee that it is confidential and have taken steps to treat the information as such. For example, storing the information on a restricted hard drive with security access only. Information will not be confidential merely because, and this is quite important, this is stated in an employment contract or HR policy. If your employee or ex-employee takes your confidential information without consent and uses it to further a scheme that is contrary to your interests, they may be breaching their obligation of confidence. The Corporations Act 2001 provides that a person who obtains information as part of their job must not improperly use that information to gain advantage for themselves or someone else, or to cause detriment to the corporation. This applies to a corporation's current or former director, officer, or employee. If a current or former employee or director has contravened the Corporations Act, you can seek compensation. If an employee or ex-employee has misused or is threatening to misuse your confidential information, follow these steps. Okay, so you've got step 1, which is to immediately seek legal advice. So to act quickly, to seek legal advice will minimize the potential damage to your business. A court is less likely to assist, for example, by granting a court order if you have failed to act quickly enough. Step 2 is to retain evidence. Retain all evidence of the employee's or ex-employee's actions, including any computer records and emails. Step 3 is prevent further access of information to the employee. So if the employee still works for you, it would make sense to block their access to your computer systems to prevent them from altering or deleting information. Step 4, seek a court order. So you can ask for a court order to compensate for the loss suffered from the employee's breach, restrain the employee or ex-employee from the breach. So for example, an interlocutory restraint. Injunction, my apologies, or require the employee or ex-employees to account to you for the profit or benefit derived from their breach. So for example, give your records of the revenues of costs associated with the business they have done using your confidential information. Thanks, for that. That's the end of my presentation here. So I'll just be passing you now back to Andrew.
Hey, thanks, Monica. I actually think I learned something. Now, as you can see, there are many issues and regulations that affect doing business for businesses in the IT industry. I know a lot of our viewers today may not be members, so I would like to outline the membership options for Business Ready Q Assure. You have two options to get compliant and noticed by government. Our SME level gives you that accreditation and a step up to be noticed by government. You're also a member of CCIQ, the peak body for industry and small business in Queensland. Our top level enterprise membership, sorry, I didn't skip the screen, but our enterprise membership gives you the additional support of full HR compliance, policies, as well as priority accreditation and listing on qassure.com.au, as we have discussed today. You'll be able to seek out the advice Monica has given today, as well as our entire HR advisor team. What's next? Ask yourself, how important is tendering and HR to your business? Are your business capabilities up to date if you are a member on Business Ready Q Assure? Do you know that HR and social policy inclusions give you additional weighting when applying for an open tender? Is your company HR compliant? Do you need some advice? Are you a member? Call our HR team today. If you're not a member, feel free to give us a call and discuss membership with the Chamber. That's everything for me. I believe Business Ready Q Assure is a really great business membership, and I'd like to pass you back over to Amanda.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Andrew and Monica, for presenting. And thank you to everyone who's taken the time to listen today. We'll send out an email later today, which will have a link to the recording and the slides, and also any other webinars that we have coming up. So thank you very much for joining us, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.